Welcome to today's conversation where we will discuss the realities of women and girls continue to face in accessing quality health in Kenya. Today we speak about maternal mortality, periods poverty, menstrual health management, and safe abortion, and why grassroots women are demanding urgent action. Women are still dying from preventable causes. Girls are missing school because of periods. Women continue to suffer in silence because of healthcare systems that are failing them. So I have my panelists today, very powerful women. I have Feli and Ruth Mumbi, and they've been in front line defending women's rights, women health rights in this country. Karibuni sana, and kindly you can introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Feminists. I'm a gender justice, climate justice advocate, and I'm a women environmental human rights defender. I am not glad to be here today because we are talking about women dying, and at this point in time, there's nothing to be happy about. I feel very angry, I feel very sad, I feel very hurt, but we have to have this conversation.
Thank you so much. Busana Mumbi.
Thank you, editor. My name is Ruth Mumbi. I'm a community organizer and a feminist activist. I coordinate and work with the Women's Collective. It's a grassroots-based organization that works on the intersectionality of reproductive justice and climate justice.
Well, thank you so much. So Mumbi, I've been seeing and I've experienced as a woman on what is happening today in Kenya. But again, I want you to remind us, what is the situation of women today in terms of health in this country?
It's a sad reality. Being a woman in Kenya, it has become a death sentence. When you look at the situation that we are experiencing in terms of access to public health system that many women rely on, these are poor working class women, women in the ghettos, young girls. We rely on public health system. But for the last 3 years, the public health system has failed. And when the public health system fails, the people, the cluster that carries the burden, it's poor women and girls. What we have seen for the last 3 years, we have seen women being indignified because of motherhood. We have seen women being sentenced in hospital through hospital detentions for giving birth. We have also seen women dying due to a safe abortion. We have also seen women and girls being criminalized, even by the courts, for going to a search for care. So in a situation it's a situation whereby being a woman in Kenya, it's difficult. It's a life sentence. It's a death sentence. Sababu haujui ukienda hospitali hata ukienda kuzaa, either ukufe maybe because of complications, ama ukizaa unajipata unakuwa detained. We have seen that happen in Nairobi County. Tunaona Mama Lucy, wamama wamekuwa detained huko. We have seen in Western Kenya. We have also seen in Kiambu County, especially Thika High level 5, where dozens of women walideteniwa huko almost for 7 months. Imagine unazaa mtoto unarudi unamlelea kwa hospitali. Hiyo ni huduma ama ni aibu inakaa aje? Instead of celebrating motherhood, we are criminalizing motherhood. So the situation in terms of the health system in Kenya, as we speak, it's not a situation that's working for the Kenyan women.
Well, thank you so much, Mumbi, and you've really elaborated it well. And I know as much as we're speaking about these women, we are those women. And I've been looking at the system and the experiences, because we work with women, and women will share, like Nitera Kuza, this is how I was mistreated, and it tells you the kind of leadership that we have in this country. And I feel like in this country, people are taking advantage of women, and they think like women's body is about making profit. And we want to tell them, we already know that.
Sure.
Yeah, and we need to organize around that. to ensure that we stop, number one, criminalizing women's body and even health. And also, we've seen even like religious institutions demonizing just the well-being of women. Feli,
But before you go to the editor, you've touched something very, emotive on how religious fundamentalist institution, how they are criminalizing and curtailing the rights of women. And you can imagine these are institutions that are out there to demonize anybody who talks about access to legal and safe abortion for women and girls who are survivors maybe of rape, incest. And these institutions, you would think that they will be the first institutions to condemn the illegality that's happening to the Kenyan women and to the Kenyan children. Because it doesn't add up when they protect the life of an unborn child, but when already the child is born, that's where now they draw the line. Because when you talk about, I've never seen them talk about the detention. I've never seen them talk about how motherhood is being criminalized, how motherhood is being indignified in this country. But they are on the front line talking about something that a woman doesn't know what she's carrying. Yeah, I thought it was important to emphasize on that.
I agree with that emphasis, and I don't have even much to say. But again, I would love to understand the politics of it, even as a pro-choicer. And Feli, because you are here, I want to understand your views on safe abortion. Because one of the things, and I agree with Mumbi, as religious leaders are here with some few people from LSK, they are here, they are trying to gag women's body. But again, at the grassroots level, what is happening today? If I want to access abortion, I will access abortion in Kibera anytime. I don't need to have that much. I know abortion, even unsafe abortion, is very expensive. But if a woman today, they want to terminate pregnancy, they will do that. I want to hear from you, Feli. What is your view on what is happening about abortion rights in terms of legal and what is happening on the ground?
First of all, I'd like to say that for me, when talking about abortions, I usually, I understand that survivors, people who have been involved in incest, would really require this service, but also acknowledging that there are people who might not fall in that line and really, really need this service. And about Kibera, where we are, UNFPA says that by 2022, over 66% of girls between 15 to 17 had been exposed to sex. And most of the time, it was non-consensual sex. So you're wondering, these are girls who are 13, 15 to 17. These are girls who is getting into sexual actions without knowledge, without protection, without systems, in a community where there is poverty, in a community where there is different power dynamics, in a community where we have a lot of different cultures merging. And this is a girl who, like, to some extent, has no safe space to express. And even if they can express, can they get help? So if these 66% of girls, recently to Lipashnaona, at least 25% of them get pregnant. So you can imagine how many girls are getting pregnant actively in Kibera every day without having knowledge on access to contraceptives, access to safe abortion services. At the end of the day, 7 out of 10 women are accessing abortions, whether safe, whether unsafe, whether spontaneous. We are having 7 out of 10. We do not want to talk about it because, well, I used to tell myself that who would love me after I say that I've had 3 abortions? I used to tell myself that. Who would? But at the same time, women need to know that you're not alone. Like, this is happening, and it is happening to a lot of us. And if you do not talk about it, you keep getting stuck, like having an abortion after an abortion after an abortion, unsafely, because you're not talking about it. We're not talking about what is sustaining this high rate of unsafe abortions. We're not talking about the issues that women and girls are dealing with. We're not talking about rape in marriages because highest numbers of abortions are coming from women in marriages. When we're just looking at that one girl and saying, alikuwa anataka soft life, oh, she wanted pleasure. Pleasure is, we have been wired to think that sex is just for procreating. Men are supposed to enjoy, you are supposed to give birth, and for you to go have sex, you have to have it at the back of your mind that pregnancy is a consequence.
But Feli, because you brought that, we have also churches that advocate and they tell women they cannot have sex any other time. You need to have sex only when you are going to be pregnant. Do you know today in 2026?
Honestly, I don't. But as Mumbi said, churches are restricting women's bodies, are policing women's bodies, are criminalizing women's bodies. Maybe somebody comes and tells me, I get so angry when I imagine the audacity that the audacity of how men translate the Bible. I get so angry because someone is coming to tell me, a whole woman who has carried a baby and given birth to a baby and watching that baby grow, and someone is coming to that baby will someday tell someone that a girl came from his ribs, that a whole woman came from his ribs, and they ought to serve them. They ought to procreate and fill the world. Why are we making women's pleasure such a criminal thing to the extent that someone can say, you had sex, you knew very well that there was a possibility of getting pregnant. Okay, fine. Now you are pregnant, you've aborted, like you've had an abortion, and you knew that you could die from this abortion. Why should we give you health care? Where are people getting the audacity to translate texts like that? Leo tumeongelelea, why is it okay, Mumbi? What came to my mind when you were talking? Why is it okay that kanisa ita protect father mwenye ana rape watoto, but when that child doesn't want to keep a rape child, they're being criminalized. When that child doesn't want to keep an incest child, shetani ndio alimwingilia, unamsamehea tu. Why? Why are we validating crimes with the devil's name? Shetani hata ana makosa, alijaribu tu kutempt Yesu mara kama 3 tu. And we are here validating very many issues with the devil tempted, but you cannot allow the devil to tempt that girl to get an abortion. Why? Religion is fixing us in a certain state, and girls are getting assaulted every day, girls are getting pregnant every day, and girls need to access these services. We need protection, we need state protection. We do not know what goes on when you go to hospital. You do not know who you're going to meet when you go to hospital. You might meet that religious person who's not going to give you services. And then what? Someone is going to say your previous doctor does not recommend. And Ministry of Health inatuambia, you and your doctor will be the best person to decide. Why do they have to decide for us? Why do they have to feel it is right for you or it is not right for you? You have gone to seek a service and you deserve to get that service. Who is this that is being given authority over you, over your life, over your body? And you're having so many children you cannot take care of. Economy imefika tunanunua Apple 70 bob. Tunanunua pads 100. Where are we taking these children? How are we going to sustain these children?
Wow, Feli has really talked about so many things. She's talked about men having sex with children. And one of the things that I believe, children cannot consent whatsoever. So whether they're 17, 18, 16 years old, that is defilement. And that is why we need to come together to stop child sexual violence. Because people are damaging children. When children are pregnant, people think they're old women. It is okay for a child in our community to be pregnant. One of the things that I've loved about feminist spaces is refusing constantly to normalize all these evil things. I love feminist spaces because they're always ahead. We see men, we see patriarchy, where some people cannot even see patriarchy. We see how they influence the attitude, the behaviors in the community. And that is why these conversations are very important to enlighten people, because patriarchy has shown us it is about managing your body as policing your body as women, controlling everything. But we are here kusema hatutakubali. We are here to reorganize ourselves. Talking about religious fundamentalism, which in the Bible has said, I respect that at individual level, but remember, you are the Christian here. Really, I'm not a Christian. So you cannot, you want to push your values on me. I am not a Christian, and I have my feminist values that I follow, an Africa that is very rooted in me. So I love myself because I can make my personal choices and I can make decisions over my body without anyone, even this government. I cannot allow the government to control my body. And I'm talking from a privileged point of view, as well as much as I'm coming from Kebera. I want to understand from Mumbi, what dangers do women face because of stigma and criminalization? Because we've seen women being demonized. For example, in the morning, we were talking about one of the women who was had to get in a relationship when she was young, at 15 years old. She was infected by HIV. And remember, at 15 years old, you are a child. And when you are in a relationship with a man, it is not even a relationship. We say that is rape, that is defilement. And men takes advantage when girls are vulnerable. So she had to drop out from school after being infected. But again, even the family going to the extent of banning her vagina to remove Shetani. Now HIV, the virus of HIV in her body is Shetani. And it tells you how religion plays role in women who are not empowered, in families who are not empowered, because they will brainwash you. The family, the parents were brainwashed and they kept on burning her with candles for almost 3 years, kutoa Shetani kwa vagina yake. And we have horrible stories. Personally, after I was gang raped, I had to terminate pregnancy. And I'm not sorry about that. I'm not apologizing, because this is a basic need for all women. All women need an information about safe abortion, about safe maternal health. So if that is missing, it is when people like me, at the end of the day, tulijipata huko kwa quack doctor. So there is a lot, and Mumbi, I want you to speak about the effects of criminalization of women like myself who have experienced abortion. Every day, tunaambiwa, wewe kwenda, wewe ni muuaji, uliua mtu, wewe kwenda, abortion is a crime. And I tell people, if it is a crime, go and report me to your next police station, because I've done it. You cannot rape me and then you leave me without solution. We are getting empowered and we are bringing more women in the space, because lazima wanawake tu wakuwe empowered. You need to know two things. You need to know your abortion rights in Article 26(4), and also you need to know about maternal health rights. As a woman, sisi wote lazima tujue na to understand. Mumbi?
Before we do, let me just add something. Like, just say tumekuwa to protest town, and then someone comments, Bishamba will post, and then someone comments, eti kama Feli angekuwa pro-choice, mbona akona mtoto? So as you talk about criminalization of abortion, also add the fact that people try to portion, why do people try to, I don't know how to call it, but
This is how you need to tell those people,
wanajaribu kufanya, like the fact that I have a child means I can never have an abortion.
Children
but I
by
never
choices,
did. You know,
by
that is how people try to view, like when a person, especially when I'm told, I cannot be a pro-choice person just because I have a child.
Yeah.
And I was like, I needed to have an abortion after, and I did. And sometimes I usually say, I love my child so much, but if someone took me back to 17, to a point where my mom was asking me, do you want to keep this child or not? I'd choose not. Does not mean I love my child any less. But I know better now.
Exactly.
And I know that if I was to give someone an option at that age or at any point, I would want to give it to them. So also, as you talk about criminalization, talk about people trying to sanctify. Trying to sanctify abortion.
Usitumie kizungu konde Feli.
Yeah,
Hii podcast ni watu wa grassroots.
wanajaribu kufanya ni kama mtu mwenye ako na mtoto ako too dignified ama ako very
Yeah, that is
spiritual
what
ama
they
ako
do.
nini ndio asiongee kuhusu abortion right? Si ako na mtoto anyway.
And even the
anaongelelea
question of,
nini?
wewe editor, kama mamako angekutoa, wewe mimi naambia mamangu hata hapa kwa podcast. Mimi sikuambia mamangu ni keep. Ilikuwa choice ya mamangu kunikeep. And I have my personal choice as editor. Remember that, Mumbi?
Yeah.
Because these are things that we face. I remember ile siku tulikuwa tunaandamana Milimani Law Court, and now people demonized us, calling us names. And I'm like, oh yo, Sisi, we've already set our mind and we understand living in a woman's body in a patriarchal world. We know how it feels. That is the only experience and expertise yenye tuko nayo. Ingine hatuna. Mumbi?
Yeah, Feli, I think I've also been in such a situation as editor knows, because I'm very intentional on the advocacy and being a voice of many women and girls and demanding for safe and legal abortion in this country, and also being a petitioner of one of the landmark ruling in Africa that guaranteed Kenyan women access to safe and legal abortion, but the church has gone to appeal it. And for me, it's also, I would say it's a contradiction, because it always reminds me why I should continue standing up and also being in the forefront of decriminalizing abortion in Kenya. Because people also, when we unashinanga kutuambia story ya abortion uko na watoto, alafu by coincidence, my firstborn was born on the 28th September, which is the International Abortion Day.
Happy birthday! Very, very
Yes.
soon.
And I think the stars conspired. It gave me enough purpose to always ground me on the reasons as to why women should continue or should be given right to their autonomy. And editor, the story that we had, Leo, it's so traumatizing.
Sana.
That the torture that girl went through at an early age, that she was taken through by the church. Believe some mtu anakuja kukuletea.
And do you know, even up to date, the part of her being banned, she cannot say. When she wants to speak about it, sauti inafanya nini? Inapotea actually. She cannot talk about
that's a trauma.
it. It was a lot of pain. I can only imagine actually.
So, and the message kanisa unajuanga, mimi naambianga can you just keep off women uteruses? Sababu women uteruses are not their altar. Waombe miungu zao kwenye wanaenda kuwaombea, lakini wachane na wanawake. Because at the church, I think we need to have a national conversation as a sector on the harm the church has done
Created, yeah.
to the Kenyan women,
To the African women. You know, in Africa, I realized that people think a Kenyan woman is even more, like they are really enjoying their freedom.
Yeah.
Like we are more liberated than others. But the church around Africa, there is something else.
Yeah, for sure. Because this is even you go into the politics. This wasn't even our belief. It wasn't even our spirituality. Ni kitu tuliletewa. And I think as we demand reparation for climate justice, we also need to demand reparation from the churches. Because these are the same. They are the same churches that are detaining adolescent girls in hospitals when they give birth. And saying, no, I have fundraised for a pastoralist girl that was defiled, and she found herself in a church institution, a maternity, but she could not afford to pay for the maternity fee. And they detained her. A church detaining a child. And now we wonder, which God are you talking about? Yeah? About compassion when you're not even showing that compassion to the people that you claim that you represent. And for me, it's so sad when Feli amesema that a state needs to protect women. Yes, we need to continue holding the state accountable because the womb of poor women, the womb of working class women, the womb of adolescent women has now in the current situation that we are living, it has become graveyard because of state failure.
So Mumbi, you talked about accountability, and maybe some women like us, they are wondering, what does that mean? How do we make the state accountable?
Elisa, kuna kitu leo uliongea, and I think we need to continue political education to show our people, show our women the power that they possess. Because one thing, our women, sijui kama washai realize potential yao fullest, the power they do possess. Because today, ukiangalia, even the economy, who runs the Kenyan economy?
Men.
It's not men, it's the women.
No, I'm saying no. I was not saying in terms of that. I was thinking you're asking
if we withdraw our
in terms
labor,
of yes.
If we
Exactly.
Yeah. Then they will feel the pain of an economy that is collapsing. And that's the power that women have. And especially the majority, the masses of women who are at the margin. It's the only thing that we have never realized, the power that we hold. It reminds me, there was a time that we were having a conversation on tax justice. And my mother took a microphone and reminded forum that it is the poor people who make the rich live and thrive. If we didn't have poor people, the rich will not survive in this. So we need to let our people know the power that they possess and how they can withdraw that, reclaim that power and hold the state to account.
Wow, thank you so much, Mumbi. Of late, we've also seen, because maternal deaths, maternal matters, abortion is part of it. But we've seen also in the hospital, venye tu umesema, but in a public hospital whereby women are going to give birth, now wanawekwa like 4 to 5 months because they cannot pay. But initially, in the last government, if I'm right, I remember maternity was free, right?
Oh, yes.
Linda Mama, actually. And where we are going as a country, ni sisi wanawake lazima tukatae. Because if birth is nature, it means birth is God as well. But now women are suffering, wanaenda hospitali huku za mtaa, huko ndo wanazalia, mama akienda kuzaa, especially in public hospital, wanakuwa arrested kwa hospitali like 5 months na mtoto. Na ukumbuka mama akona watoto wengine nyumbani. So inamaanisha well-being ya mama iko at stake, watoto wake nyumbani wako vulnerable, na sasa hivi tumeona watoto wakikubwa. Imagine Mumbi kama umefungiwa na faili umefungiwa OC for 5 months kuna watoto wengine. Na sasa hivi watoto wanaibiwa. And we know this community have raised men who are not responsible. We cannot miss to speak about that. We need to have this conversation that men waanze kuelewa. We know most of you are not responsible. You give, wanapeana mimba, ilikuwa na consent, time ya kulewa, ati consent imeisha. We are living in a country fairly whereby we are making policies to stop men doing some things. We are living in a country to make policies to remind men, wewe baba nani, huyu ni mtoto wako, na hivi ndio tukiwaachana tunafaa kuwa tunalea watoto. We are living in a country whereby we are reminding men that she's 13 years old, she's a child. So all the time in our lives, sisi kama wanaharakati, hata tuwezi relax because we don't know the next thing. Today, children are abducted. You want to police women's body. You are killing women. So much atrocities. And we must remind ourselves, and that is the reason why we are doing this podcast. Leo ni siku ya mama, ya health, the well-being ya mama. We are going to remind ourselves, we are not stopping to fight this war. Nobody is going to gag our bodies. We are going to make decisions for our bodies. We are going to get outside there, explore. We are going to access all maternal care. I know women have suffered for the longest time, na tumeongea tukiwa tumekasirika. What are the solutions? How do we support women? Tulisikia asubuhi kuna wale walipoteza watoto wao, wale walichitiwa vibaya. Tulisikia wale walipata wali experience abortion au kupata post-abortion care. How do we unite? How do we build systems? Kwanza, yes, we know we need to make government accountable, but sisi tu wali tuko venye tumejiposition. How do we build a system really that supports women?
I mean, every time I hear you speak, after every two sentences,
Lazima tukasirike.
nakasirika upya.
Haujaisikia wanasema feminists are angry women and very ugly. We will show you our ugly faces because there is nothing to smile about for you. We are not going to show anyone our beautiful faces, and you are raping women, you are abducting children. Feminists are ugly women. And look at you.
And people are celebrating that minors can now consensually have sex with each other. And I look at someone, I was like, man, you know your 5-year-old can now consensually have sex.
In some countries,
anyway,
they even marrying their children at 9 years old. Na ni sheria, wababa wamekaa chini, wakapitisha.
But for me, I feel like one of the biggest systems tunafaa kubuild ni kujua safe abortion services zinapotolewa wapi na mtu anaweza fika aje huko. Kujua hapa Kibera ukitaka safe abortions ni wapi unaenda na where is it and how can you get there and what do you need. So for me, I think
hapa Kibera ni wapi?
Imagine hapa Kibera, I don't know. The only places I know in Nairobi mzima ni Medicine Sans Frontiers.
But then they are doing free. Yes, it is free, but they are doing post-abortion care.
No, they also do abortion services. Medicine Sans Frontiers.
Yes, abortion services for women who have been raped and children who have been defiled.
Because everywhere else we go, you have to pay. Some places like Marisops, they determine how much you look like paying. And I understand, like the model is a nice system where the rich pays more, the poor get services, but still, you never really know what someone is going through at a certain moment in time, at a certain period in time. So I think at this moment, tunafaa kujiuliza, kama kuna services Kibera, ni wapi tunaweza hizi services, hata kama ni clinic moja, yenye mama akikuja hapa, tunaweza mwambia shuka pale chini, uweze kujisaidia.
Na pia hata watu wa Kibera, si watu wa Kibera pekee, as a country Mumbi, tuko na antigen, maybe unaweza ongelelea.
Yes, and kabla, I think yes, antigen, it's a platform, it is a system that has been created, ambayo tunaona ina work, and as an alternative and diversifying such spaces and platforms that we have, I think as even feminists, individually, collectively, we need to go back and resource the work that feminists, grassroots feminists are doing in terms of mutual aid, because we've seen mutual aid editor work. You remember during COVID, when you were taking contraceptives door to door to women, it was through the mutual aid. And through this mutual aid, we know our people, we know the woman who is suffering, we know the woman who is vulnerable. We can be able to identify, let's bring the resources that we have. And I don't know why we have never had a feminist, clinic or a feminist hospital where, because we have like what come out in Dr. Stella, where are we not investing in hospitals and schools? And that's where the church inatushindianga, because mtoto anaenda shule ya kanisa anakuwa brainwashed. Akikuja hapa hivi akibeba mimba ataenda hospitali ya kanisa, wanamnyima contraceptive, wanamnyima access to post-abortion care. What have we left? The power, ile ambayo inaleta meaningful change, ikuache wale watu wanatupiga ndio wako nayo. Are we that poor that we cannot resource our alternatives?
But Mumbi, I love about this conversation, remember your mom, when she was at our age, they didn't have platforms to discuss such conversations. I'm happy, as much as we are not there, but my child in the future will watch these podcasts, and even the children, and they'll be like, wow, I'm proud of my mama. Because she started this conversation, she continued, talking about topics that have been hard over centuries, because women have been procuring abortions, but again in silence. and quack doctors have been taking advantage of that. So I think pali tuko sahi as a country, as activists, feminist activists, tuko pali fiti. Juu tunaanza kuongea. Na ukumbuke, watu wakiongea generation nyingine kikuja, inaanza kuweka action. So don't even regret, we are good to go. Kitamba tuko tena wanawake madaktari. You know that story?
Yes, yeah.
Na sasa tuko na wanawake wangapi madaktari?
Hata idea tuko tunapewa.
More power to women, more power.
More power.
Hata idea tuko tunapata, sasa hivi tunapata
ID, exactly.
Kuna time in this country hata nini, ukiwa mwanamke kupata passport lazima ungepata authorization from the husband. Mwanaume ndiye anakupatia, anaandikia ministry, sawa, nimemtia, mnaweza mpatia.
Hata niliona hata juzi, sasa hizi unaweza chukua certificate ya mtoto bila jina ya baba.
Kazi yetu manze. Kazi yetu.
I'm very agree with you, Edita, because even the small wins as
we need to celebrate.
We forget to celebrate,
yes.
And I think because the generation that has come, they don't know the story that our mothers had to go through. Because there was a time in this same country, women could not inherit land. So if you Edita akisema anaweza
I sit my father like this. Na nikafungua constitution nikamwambia sahi mtoto msichana kwa constitution 2010 inasema pia wavulana land
kabisa.
Friend, you are giving me land.
Yeah.
Tuko na shamba by the way. I'm not rich.
Hey.
I'm a rich bitch.
Hey.
Congratulations. Hata shule, the priority was boy child. Hata grandchild akuwa mwerevu kiasi gani
utaolewa.
Endo uolewe, mahali iletwe, mtoto kijana apelekwe shule. That's how bad it was.
But me, I love these conversations because they are opening spaces for the next generation to come and explore, for the next generation to even change the narratives. Today we've heard Juliet's story talking about she's never lacked sanitary towels. She's so confident because of how she's grown up. But again, you see our stories are different, and that is why tunafaa kustick pamoja, tufanye kazi pamoja to change narratives. We must, sitaki kutumia vocabulary. Lazima tubadilishe hizi stories Mumbi, unanielewa? Lazima tuzishift. Hatuwezi romanticize pain. Pain has been romanticized by patriarchy for the longest time on women's body. I know of a story, you're talking about maternity health, Mumbi, in my community. And most of the women, especially Luo women, will disagree with that. But one of the retrogressive cultures we have as Luo women, when you've given birth, you are supposed to cleanse your husband at around 4 to 17 days after giving birth. Sometimes you've given birth, umeshonwa, mtoto unarua mtu, operation. Exactly. Sasa wewe ndio bwanako akuwe safe, na hata kianya huko mtoto wako asikufe. So you need to have sexual intercourse with them wakati umezaa hiyo time within those days. It depends with now the clan. So it tells you how women suffered in silence. I know my own mother went through that because she's 50 plus. I know some of younger women nyuma yangu have gone through that, but they go through that in silence, and it comes with a lot of shame. Mtu ukisema hiyo story, nani atakosa kuchekelelea? Everyone will laugh at you. So silence. Men takes advantage of that. Remember, Mungu ukiangalia hiyo culture, hiyo retrogressive culture, inaweka mwanamke ako 50-50. You are told Mungu your child will die. Feli, utafanya exactly. So they will conform with a lot of pain. Ndio unapata wamama wengi kitambo wajaluo, they were not even healing fast. Even today wengine wako na issues, wako na fistula, but they cannot speak in public. Ushago wa mama, they can't until we open conversation whereby women are not going to be judged of sharing their experience. It is a system. Wamama wenzetu sisi tuko hapa, we are going to fight for women's rights. Feli ulikuwa na kitu ya kusema.
Nikakumbuka, I got a minor hemorrhage when I gave birth. And this was something that I was very, very ashamed of, to the extent that intimacy was difficult for me. Because I was like, hey, if someone looks at me down there, it could be, that kind of way. And then one day, hizi messages zenye Safaricom wanatutumianga za foundation na nini zao za fistula. So one day I chose to go to Thika level 5 kwa hizi clinic zao za kujanisha kati ya fistula. Edited the number of women who came to that clinic, and they do that very frequently, so you cannot say that ni wamama wote wenye wako na fistula wanakuwa kuja hiyo siku. The number of older women who came was crazy. So we are being looked at and tunabukiwa theater. That was around August.
You are not paying?
Yeah, you were not paying.
Oh, that is great.
But the dates nilipewa April the next year. OBGYN ako fully booked kutoka August to April next year, na hiyo wamejaribu kunirukisha. So you can imagine, I never went for that surgery because by April, yani maisha ilikuwa imesonga hadi nimeanza kufeel nimejiaccept hivyo venye hivyo itakuwa ni accept hivyo. And you can imagine an older woman who is living in diapers. You even find women talking about their husbands compromising them because they do not feel like they can go inside the vagina anymore. And you can imagine how this woman is surviving for 8 months akingojea surgery. And I'm just, Mimi, this story of maternal health, and then someone is coming to tell me, mbona mnakuanga mmekasirika? Why don't you want to have another child?
Msikose kukasirika, by the way. Tutakasirika.
We should be angry. Kila mtu anafaa kujump. Because I understand that some of us have not experienced some of these things. But also, kunakuanga na ile feeling ya, it's not me, it cannot be the next person, but it can and it is the next person.
It is, yeah,
it can and it is the next person. When we started talking about women getting tears for hospitality, I was surprised by how many women had tears. I came to learn yesterday that tunafaa kupewa anesthesia. I don't know any woman who has received anesthesia kishonwa. I don't.
It is torture.
It is torture. Hey, nasa ananiambia mimi nilishonwa. Na nasa ananiambia umetoka labor, sasa ni uchungia shindano unaogopa. Literally. Unaogopa ndio ulikuwa unapata. Let me tell you. Ama tukoche hivyo bwana hata asienda kuangalia.
So I was coming there.
And let me tell you,
because women have shared stories whereby doctors and nurses will tell them what washona. They don't give them an option like this is an health. They say ukiwachwa huko wanaume watakutoroka. So what?
Let me tell you this, all those teachers zilipasuka na bado niko na wanaume. All those teachers went. I don't even know. One ilibasti ya pili ya tatu. Nikaanza kufikiria mtaka hospitali ni teachers zingine jamani. But I'm like, it's fine. You know what? Mbona huyo mama alikuwa ananitesa jamani?
Hata wasipotoroka tutawatorosha sasa penye imefika. Kwa sababu kishona mwanamke, you need to inform them this one is because of health. Tukiacha hiyo wound ikiwa wazi utapata infection mingi, si ndio? So tukifunga ina reduce chances za infection. That is the reason why wanawake wanashonwa. Wanawake washonwi ati mtoto akikurarua ati wanaume watakimbia. Sasa si wakimbia tu wanataka kukimbia.
Peshte hapo na insecurity ya kinasa amemshona kitu
kikiona about men.
Imagine.
Let's justify kwa nini lazima
amemshona kitu kikiwa asymmetrical jamani. Hapo hivi
ati mtatoroka. Sasa I think we are going to watch part 2 of this podcast. Right now, nataka parting shot yenyu tuone vile tutasaidia wanawake. I want to see us like how do we work together. We need to end this. We are women, we are powerful, and we are the change in our communities. And we are here, we are ready to continue fighting until all women are free. Mumbi?
Parting shot will go to the Kenyan women and say Nwambia kwamba you have the power and let's use and catalyze the power that we have to fight for our bodies, to fight for our kids, and also to change this system that is not working for us. Mtu asikudanganya ati Kenya hakuna resources ya kuresource the public health system na health yetu sisi kama akina mama. Pesa iko mingi, but it's due to corruption, it's also due to the hate that the leaders, wenye wanakujanga kutuomba kura, hawatupendi, because if they loved us, if they cared about the health of the women, ingekuwa wana prioritize the budget iende kwa health, and especially reproductive health. It's so sad that we are almost 3.5 years to 2030 SDGs to come to an end. And can we quantify what the people who wrote about the SDG, the vision that we had on SDG, have we been able to actualize? Have we realized all those dreams? I don't think so, because the Kenyan woman continue to suffer. The Kenyan woman continue to be neglected. The Kenyan woman continue to face stigma and criminalization for choosing to love herself, for choosing to go and, kutafuta, when they go to search for care. It's also sad. The SDGs, ilikuwa imetupromise kwamba it's going to fight inequalities, and it is also ilikuwa pia ihakikisha kwamba kama nchi tumeweza kupata healthcare system ambayo ina work. Ilhali kama nchi bado hatujafika hapo. So ndaambia wanawake tusikufe moyo. We are still powerful. We are the daughters of the Mau Mau. We are the lioness. We fought for this country. Let's rise and fight for our bodies.
Hearing Mubi speak, I came to remember the fact that SDG number 5, which is gender equality, is one of those with the least achievements under SDGs. But also my parting shot for me would be, share your experiences. Share those experiences. We are so quiet, and men and patriarchy are taking advantage of our silence. Religion is taking advantage of our silence. Share those stories. Shame those people. Let them be seen for who they are. Because you do not know that in sharing, the next woman might be able to. The next woman might find strength to stand up for themselves. The next woman might question something that they would not have questioned before. So share these experiences. I am surprised by how many people share the same experiences. I am surprised by how we are tumefanywa sisi kama survivors, sisi kama receivers of violence, we are being shamed, we are being demonized because of experiences that were done to us. Wewe umechomwa, but you are the one who is, editor amechomwa. Na alichomwa juu ya hii na hii. Instead of someone saying, nani alichoma editor, and that is not a very good thing. Like, it's not a good thing at all. Why would he do that? Sisi tuko tu hapo, akiona venye siku hizi editor anatembeanga after amechomwa. We are pushing women into keeping these experiences private. Tunawa force kutuongelelea vitu that they should be talking about. Because in speaking, someone might know, the next person might know, that ukiombewa, huko kwetu tunachapanga hadi watu ndio wa-reform. Someone might know that unapeleka mama kwa kanisa, apigwe for 30 years, akwa analinia pastor bure, anafanya kazi bure, and nothing is going to happen. Because this is not a religious issue to sort. So we talk. People will see you, people will judge you. At the end of the day, I even know if some of the people who know me, when they watch this podcast that I'm on and they hear some of my experiences, mimi mtu ananiambia ukai hata mtu amefanya abortions 3 juu people who have had abortions are retarded. And I was like, what do you mean? How is my uterus and my brain connected to the extent that I'm retarded because I've had an abortion? And to people who've had abortions, you can tell they have this spirit clinging to them, bad spirit. And I'm like, I am a very vibrant person. I love color. I love good things. I love being happy. I am very smart. I believe I'm very smart, by the way. And maybe I feel like I'm smarter now because of my experiences. These experiences that pushed me into certain situations, that pushed me to my limit, that had me thinking differently, they make me who I am today. They make me a smarter woman. They make me a bolder woman. They make me the woman speaking today. And they make as young as I am already mentoring other feminists because I can speak boldly. Tumeongelelea intergenerational dialogue, and I am so glad that I can get to sit in a space with you guys. I can get to learn from you, and the next person can get to learn from me. We hold space for each other. We share these experiences. Mimi mtu wangu wa cleanse juu hatukuwa tunapatana. But now I know if I get married to a Luo man who wants me to cleanse him, it is not going to happen. And I will tell them, no, these are things that even as a Luo person, I didn't know. I just know that my mom tells me some things you do not have to go through, my daughter. But these things that I do not have to go through, she does not specify. Haniambi specifically ni gani.
That's a lot of shame.
So it is, we stop shaming women for their experiences of violence that is done to them. And as a woman, share that experience because the next person is going to learn from it. People ironing babies, things that you would never even think about. Talk about them. Let people know about the inhumanity that is existing, about how people are killing women so silently and with no accountability at all. I believe in power of sharing, of holding space, of being yourself in your most authentic way.
Thank you so much, Mumbi and Feli. That was really profound. And this is where I tell people, as much as I didn't get proper education, this has been my school. This is the school of thoughts that I love. I say it's called Kibera University. It is a school of experience with paperless degree. And I feel so sad because we've been strangled for the longest time. We are not breathing anymore. And I want to ask everyone in this country, because we are living in a vacuum, how many women do you want to die so that you can listen to women? We must stop those deaths. And one of the things that I want to tell even my fellow women, because we've talked about maternal deaths, and maternal death is intentional in this country. Women are dying for preventable diseases and infection during maternal death. We know that. That is called femicide. And they must stop killing women whatsoever. We are here, number one, in solidarity with women, families of women who lost their lives through maternal death, and also femicide. We are here to create awareness for other women to understand this is a journey we are going to walk together. But at some point we feel like we are going to call all women in this country to stop paying tax. Because if you cannot guarantee us of our safety, why are you taking our money? And we are going to organize about that, and we are going to urge women, we are not going to pay tax. So you need to provide security because you're taking our money. Thank you so much. You can join us in our part 2 of this conversation. We love you so much. Feminist activists, continue doing the good work that you are doing as RHR advocates outside there. We are with you. You are not alone. We see you. We love you so much. More love and positive energy.